Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Water for the Thirsty, the word simply, the word refreshing. I'm your facilitator, Jared. With me tonight is Jerry and Lorraine. I haven't seen Lorraine in a little bit, so excited to have her here with us tonight. It might just be us tonight, but we'll see what the, um, the rest of the evening looks like. It's been a while since we touched base. Was the first Friday in February. Was the last time we were together because we had to call off for the 20th. Thank you, Sammy. Um, and so we've had a lot of material that we covered since the last time we got together. I think the first Friday was a sixth, so that means we read the whole of Acts, uh, almost all of Romans. I think we are at was that Romans 12 or 13 today. Today is the sixth, yeah, Romans 13. We made it through Leviticus and are in the good stuff of Numbers. I saw the people get infected with the disease while they were eating quail this week. And of course, we're in Kenrick's book, the Psalms, up to Psalm 34 as of today. So that's kind of the basis for our conversation tonight. Um, that and then anything else that you guys had that you guys might have been following along in addition to the reading plan. Lorraine, I know you told me you were following on something else, but I was curious if there was anything that stood out to you in that space. Um, if no, no worries.
And what I've been reading?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What you're learning about God, what He's teaching you about Himself, what you're learning about yourself from that, all that kind of good stuff.
I think it's just looking at different people's relationships with God. Like, for example, like I was reading about um, Joshua
Mm-hmm.
when he had 32,000 soldiers with him.
When
Um,
he's talking. No, that's
and
Gideon.
then God basically was like, "Nah, that's too many, because then y'all gonna think y'all did
Yeah,
this." And I was like, they
yeah,
had
that's
described
Gideon.
he described the people as like locusts, and then he cut it down, and then he's like, "All right, now you can go." And then he said, "But if you're scared, you could take your servant such and such and go up to the camp and listen to what the people are saying." And then the
Mm.
next line was, "Then Joshua took his servant." So it's like God knew he was scared. I hear people say
Mm-hmm.
like you shouldn't be afraid and you shouldn't have fear and you shouldn't have whatever, but I feel like in that particular story, for the different bunch of different ones, but in that particular story, um, it was just like he knew what he was feeling, and he was like, "All right, let me give you some encouragement. Like take the servant and go listen to what they're saying, and this will show you like I'm really like here." So I thought that was pretty cool. Like he didn't like criticize him and at him. Some cases he does, which is interesting because like I guess there's some people he knows who he has to sit with, you know, cuddle a little bit, hold a little bit, and the
Mm-hmm.
others that
Mm-hmm.
look, stop it. I reflected on Moses, you know, telling God like, look,
Before you
hey,
go on to Moses, I want to stay on Joshua a little bit.
uh-huh. Hmm.
It's interesting as you pointed that out. I was reading something about Moses this week in a similar vein,
Hmm.
and that idea of real people doing real life um, is a big deal because I feel like we take these stories and over spiritualize them and hold these people up as these, when these people just, we in war, like, and so yes, we trust in God, but like this is war too, and so they just kind of navigating the spaces in that way with with God as a part, but it's still just regular life, and we tend to make it all of these big
Mm-hmm.
monumental things, and we don't see them as real people. So I was really you know
Yep.
that resonated.
And I joke with my daughter because I retell her the story because she's like, when I read it, mom, like it's just. And I tell she's like, but when you tell it. So I was joking with her and I was talking to her like, can you imagine you being among the 32,000 and you see Johnny and Jerome and Jason like being sent back and you're like, but you left me though, like you didn't even pick the top 300, like you picked us based on cup and water, like stop it. And then you telling me time to go? Wait a minute, hold on, I can't even sling a slingshot. What are we doing right now?
You mean Gideon, right? Not Joshua. If they're
Gideon,
drinking
that's
the
what it was.
water,
That's what
Gideon.
it was.
Okay, right, right,
Gideon.
right. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, there's so many people. All the names are running together. But and then I was joking with my daughter, and she was laughing. She was like, "Yeah, because like you imagine you're the one that's selected, and you not even like compared to the ones that went home. You're like, bro, like what are
You
we
didn't even
doing?"
audition. You didn't even audition. You're like, how did I get selected? All I did was drink some water. This was the more comfortable one. This my knees, my knees. It was just my knees.
My name,
He's like, what was the
you probably
criteria to
hoping
wear a paper on? Like this is not wise.
you probably
So
hoping
she's
being in
trying
that
that
position you
no.
would be picked to be sent home, right?
Well, you ain't even thinking about it. You just was thirsty. By the time you look up and wash your face, you're like, wait, men going home? What happened? There was an announcement. I missed the
Right,
email.
right, right. We're not
Uh,
going no more, right? Because you sent over them, so I know we're not no more. Like, wait, we still
Oh, we
going?
going home? All right. No, not me. I have to stay. Wait, what?
and you're seeing all the guys who are like, 6'5", 280 pure muscle heading home,
Right,
and you at
headed
like
home.
5'7", you're like, wait, what?
What's the plan? Are we
Exactly.
going for lunch? It's
Exactly.
lunchtime?
Mhm. Mhm.
No, I get it.
So
I get it.
it just made me think of like when God takes stuff from us and we think it's like a punishment. It made me think like sometimes it's not a punishment. It's Him trying to show you like you can't come out of this saying I did it. Like you know that you know that it was God. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those situations where he's like, oh, let me chop all these things out for you right here. All the stuff you put your faith in and you lean on because you believe this is the thing that's gonna take you through. It's like I'm about to take that and that and that and that. And you're like, oh my gosh, God, why are you punishing? It's like, nah, I'm just trying to lessen the
I
thing
have
so
to.
you know when we do this thing, it was me.
Who it is?
It
It was me.
was me.
It was all me.
Yeah.
Sorry, give me I hear my computer fan come on, which means it's getting a little hot. Um, still there?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, right.
I went down a rabbit hole with Gideon, though.
Uh-huh.
I went down a rabbit hole with Gideon.
Tell me about it.
Um, because I think I ended up reading out most of it, and what a couple of takeaways for me. One of which was, I don't know that he ever really moved from where his faith never really seemed to move from where it was. He was always like trying God.
Mm-hmm.
So you try him, you test him with the whole rag thing, let the rag be wet and dry, ground is dry, ground is wet, rag is dry, da da da. But it's like thereafter, he still seems to be like second guessing God. And even when the people are like, oh, you should be king, he's like, I don't want to be king. I shouldn't be king. But then your son, I think the son's name means my father is king. So it's like, well, you had the opportunity to be king. You're like, maybe I'm, again, you remember when the angel said to him, yeah, you mighty man of valor, right? He's like, I'm not that. So you see where God is trying to tell him who he actually is. God is trying to tell him his real identity, and he's still holding on to something else and like, questioning God back and forth.
I
So
see
it's
that
like,
a little bit differently, Jerry.
Okay.
that story, he gets the interaction with the with God and the fleece, right? But
Mhm.
then the next night when they have this statue, and he goes, and does he defend his father or does he rebuke his father? Whatever it is, he stands up for God in that moment.
Mhm.
And that almost like gives him the confidence to accept the mission, and so
Right.
he kind of dials in. I think he doesn't go the next step. He says, I'm gonna deal with it on this level. This
Right.
was the mission you sent me on. That mission done. All right, I'm going back to where I come from, rather than
Whatever
just
else God has in store for him. So it's like,
or maybe God
um,
didn't send the people to. Maybe the people chose him, and he didn't feel like God was telling him about that. Um, I wonder if we should go back and look at that, because that might be interesting to pursue. I've read that story a few times, and that never jumped out to me. So I'm excited to look at it. That's what Judges.
I was just wondering, is it that he's, because I wasn't sure, right? I was just thinking out loud, like, is it that you're choosing to settle on a level below what God has in mind for you? Because you're like, nah, I good here. Let me set up shop. This is all familiar territory, whatever. I'm good. I don't need. And it could just be the people who are trying to egg him on, and he didn't feel like called to
Yeah,
more. But
I feel like God called him to the to the battle, and the people wanted more, and he
mm,
was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
yeah, you're all on your own now, right? But I definitely relate to him because I know there have been times when not only will you ask God for a sign, get it, and then still be like, I'm a see for myself. But then there are other times where it's like, God, if you get me out of this, I promise I'll never. And then 3 months later, there you are again. It's
Let's
like,
look at it. It's Gideon is Judges chapter 8.
mm-hmm,
Um, I think where we're looking at is from verse 22. Yeah, but this is after Gideon does the battle.
mm-hmm,
He deals with these two people, Zeba and Zalmunna, and
right,
after he deals with them, the people come and say, the Israelites said to Gideon, "Rule over us.
yeah,
We want your son and your grandson to be our rulers. You have saved us from the powers of Midian."
mm-hmm,
But Gideon told them, "I will not rule over you. My son won't rule over you either. The Lord will rule over you." And I think that is a big deal there,
mm-hmm.
because the people was again asking for a king, and God just raised him up to provide deliverance. And he was like, "Yeah, God is still the boss, and I ain't taking that chain up."
Yeah, well,
No. So yeah, he went back home to live in verse 29. And that's what God was doing with the judges, right? He was raising up, he was the king in this decentralized system of living, right? This family system of living spread out the diverse over all these things. And as the people was being unfaithful and had these challenges, God would tap somebody and say, "Hey, you, come
Mhm.
do this thing here for me," right? And these people would step up and do these things, and then they would probably have this authority for some time, and then they would fall off the scene, but they didn't become the centralized ruler.
mm,
But these people wanted to make Gideon king, and Gideon passed on it. And I like his answer, the Lord will rule over you, because that's not that's not what God called me for. So to your point though, I think it's more a sense of knowing what God called you to do and not taking the chain up to move into something else, into visions of grandeur, and say like, well, maybe this is where God called me next. Nah, sometimes he ain't calling you to move beyond.
just one thing, and then
You
it
know?
was funny to me though when it says, I think that's 33. No sooner had he died, Israel prostituted itself with the idols of Baal, right? It's like,
They need somebody to follow. But oh my gosh, Joshua died. They need somebody to follow. Deborah died. And like,
always getting up into the old ways as soon as, which I feel is like what a lot of judges and First and Second Kings and stuff is about, right? You would see where somebody does the right thing, and then you'd see, and so did evil or wicked in the sight of the Lord, and then their son comes around, and then the son does more wickedly in the eyes of God. It's like
My
nobody's doing
question
it.
is why we can't be faithful without a leader? Why we can't just be faithful on our own? Why we need somebody in front?
I think that representational, I don't know what you want to call it. So like how David was representational warfare for Israel. We get this, and you saw Israel do it with Moses, where they're like, okay, you go up and talk to him, and then come back and tell us what he says. So it's almost like they don't want to have their own personal relationship with God. They don't want that accountability. Let somebody else, Jared could preach and thing like that. Let Jared do that and come back and translate for us. We don't want to go spend time in the word, and we don't want to do that for ourselves. Let this dude do
Yeah,
it.
same thing. We do that with the pastors now, right? Like, so why? But God wants to, the system he keeps setting up is this decentralized system, right? He gave 12 disciples. None of them was, higher than the other. Maybe one was a coordinating, organizing factor in Peter, but he wasn't like elevated above the others, right?
Mhm.
But we always trying to set up systems where we put one person to as an authority over us. Why? What comfort does that give us?
I think
Well,
it's. Go ahead, Lauren. Go ahead.
I think because I was also reading Samuel. That was the other one I was reading. um, I at least my perspective, I feel like we we felt they felt, and depending on the situation, that you're not legitimate until you have a king. You know what I mean? Like all the nations they've been fighting against had a king, a ruler, a leader, whatever. And it's like, I don't remember the verse, but in December, God saying the people are asking for a king. Like, he's like, I've been here. And he's like, don't worry, that's not against you. They're speaking against me. And I was like, ooh. I was like, oh.
You know what? I never noticed. Um, I know the story of Samuel that you pointed out, right? And I know that God said they rejected me as king. I didn't realize that God had made it explicit from what in Exodus. It's only as I was reading it this time, Exodus chapter 23, that I realized that, oh my gosh, he says it right here. They had that expectation from before they leave, well, not before they leave Egypt, but from while they from after they left Egypt. Yeah, Exodus 23 verse 17 and 19. It says, 3 times a year, all your men must come worship me. I am your Lord and King.
Mm-hmm.
And in verse 19, it says, bring the best of your first share of crops to my house. I am the Lord, your God. So he's like setting up here that I am God and King. And so, he establishes that, pretty firmly, that I am the King, not Moses, which is why when Moses come and hit the rock, I had to push him to the side because, boss, you represent me. That's, you are not him. I am him.
Yep.
You are my wingman. Right? Just know your place.
But I feel like it goes back to, I go and I look at Adam and Eve. Eve's temptation was around accountability, Adam's around responsibility. And it's like, as long as we don't want to accept either of those two things, we always look for somebody else to push it off. So we have some kings, some leaders, some elders, some pastors, and it's like they're the ones accountable and responsible. And it's like we are deferring our own relationship and the requirements of that relationship to somebody else. That's why I feel like we do. There are people who the only time they would study or reflect is if we're leading it. They're not gonna do it on their own. And it's like, we good. You need to make sure, let every man make sure. How does it say you're calling an election show? It's like you had to do it for yourself, right? You can't just be like, I always remember, I wouldn't name the televangelist, but I was sitting that morning looking at a particular religious station, And this televangelist is all, you know how we get all into emotionality and whatnot, and he's hyped and everybody's shambarabosha. And he quotes a psalm that doesn't exist. And nobody, because again, if in the middle of the hype he says Psalms 163 verse 17, the Lord says,
163, there's no Psalm 163. They
you,
were
you know
saying
what,
that.
right? And I'm there like, but there is no, and nobody, now it could have been Freudian slip. But even what he's saying, I'm like, I don't remember any of these psalms saying this. But again, people are so caught up in tools, whatever. It's like, yeah, whatever he said, right? We don't need to go dig for ourselves and realize.
So
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, Jared. I feel like downstream, right? Downstream, once this person is established, yes, we defer accountability to them, and maybe we set it up so that they'll defer the accountability and we trust them.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out what, I guess maybe that's the comfort. I don't have they now become responsible. Yeah, I guess. All right. Yeah. If I shift the responsibility onto them, nobody looking for me. Which is why we could talk bad about people in leadership who fall and talk about the higher standard that they should have. Because
while we do it, all we do it, right?
yeah. You're supposed to know better. Use this.
Yeah.
But I am not Jesus, so
That line, yeah, I'm not, yeah. Yeah. And you ever notice, as soon as somebody shows any sort of spiritual inclination, the thing is always like, Lauren, you talk a lot about Jesus. You never thought about doing theology. Why is it the average lay person can't just be like deep in the word and have a meaningful relationship with God? Save that for the
call.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe I haven't been able to refine my question just yet. It's just I'm noticing the contrast between the systems God set up and the systems men tend to gravitate to, and trying to, other than accountability, if accountability is the appeal.
Or maybe, maybe in some ways, maybe it's more than one thing. It's and, not or. And maybe one of them is the same thing you harp on a lot, which is, and I didn't mean harp to sound like a negative thing, but lordship, right? We rather serve a man than.
You think Jesus was a compromise?
I don't know, but
Jesus was they ain't gonna get it unless I get them somebody. I'm gonna get them Jesus.
And even then, right? What we do. So, but it's like we have a challenge with his authority and his lordship. We will worship the ground a political or religious leader walks on. But if it's God, we're like,
maybe because it's abstract and you need something to see. Maybe because it's tangible.
Also, we need an idol, that's what you say.
No, we just need tangible.
All right, which is
we don't do well in this
abstraction.
And
you might be onto
something. For abstraction.
You might be onto something because that's what the children of Israel did. It's like Moses going on while we don't even know if he's alive or dead. Let's make something we could worship.
Yeah, I feel like it might be, Jerry, that abstraction, this unseen abstract God idea that we being introduced to through a spokesperson, but we had to have this direct relationship with and yield to as a king. But he ain't really coming and, day to day in the thing, where I could speak to him and get a response right in the moment. He kind of leaving me to kind of figure my way around.
Oh, I like the fact that you use abstract and that example you use, because it's like I said, he's not coming around in a particular way I could relate to him. Sure, there's a pillar of cloud all day, pillar of fire all night, miracles here and there, my clothes growing with me, food falling from the sky, but it's still abstract. It's still not, like you say, Moses could show up and talk to him.
Yeah, Moses was the only, and he was saying that Moses is the only one I talk to face to face. That's what he tells Miriam and Aaron. He's like, yo, you need to catch yourself, I just normally talk to other people in dreams and things. You see, this fella here, me and him just talk face to face. So he has different kind of special.
Different
So
energy.
you go and wait outside the camp there for 7 days. Just chill out there. Just
Listen.
humble yourself.
Wow.
But so yeah, I guess Moses is one who's now getting the benefit of that. He's not having that abstraction, but everybody else is.
I think that's why it's hard to reckon. I'm like, he was right there. I don't know. I mean, I know I could very well have done the same thing, but I can't. I literally cannot wrap my brain around it. I'm like, all I want is physical manifestation. Like, I need to add that. And I mean, and they were as perfect as perfect can be.
I'm gonna push back. Who you talking about? Adam and Eve or the children of Israel?
Adam and Eve.
Oh, Adam and Eve. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were like, and that wasn't enough.
It is funny, right? They were perfect. They had knowledge, and they were going to live forever because they had access to the tree of life. Devil comes around and says, "If you do what I say, you'll become perfect, have all knowledge, and live forever." So you give up what you have, chasing after it.
No,
because you already have the thing.
No,
but he's telling you you don't really have it.
You have it,
this way.
So no.
Told him they didn't have.
Nah.
They already insinuated that. No, that's like, the truly smart man to suck. Like, no, we understand.
No, it's not. So, first of all, she had to deny herself the fruit, right? They all had to deny it, but the fruit was good to eat, right? So they had to not have the taste of this food, the experience of this thing, in order to get that other thing.
Right.
And if they participated in that, everybody is saying, God is saying, the serpent is saying, this tree is named the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So the tree by its own description is saying, if I get this, this will provide knowledge. I don't know if it will provide knowledge, but
it will provide something out of what I've been experiencing.
Yes. Something more than I have. But I only get it if I participate.
Right.
Now, it might be a bad thing to get, and a thing I should have never had, but it's still something I don't have. So I don't have the experience of this fruit. I know what all these other fruits taste like, but this one, I don't know. And it's not like I know now and I won't do it again, right? It's just, I never know what it is. And that thing looked real good. And it bearing every day, and it's shining, and it looking nice and
didn't he say like you'll be like God? So it's like God has a lesser level, and you could be on His.
But that's the thing. It's like you said, so you're already made in His image and likeness, from abundance, from relation, you name it, and you have the experience of being able to face to face, right? And you're thinking this thing that I haven't experienced is somehow maybe it's better than that. So let me have a swing at it and try, and then you realize, oh snap!
Yeah, but everybody's saying it is better.
It's like they want it to be God's equal.
Oh, I want to know what that experience is like. Maybe I don't want to be his equal, but I want to know more than I know now. Everybody has that. You're not curious? You don't want to know?
His suggestion was it will make you know what He knows.
Correct.
I mean, God knows that in the moment you eat of it.
Even
God opened.
He don't want you to. They have become like us, knowing good and evil, so we can't allow them to live because they have become like us.
So here's the thing, right? My Hebrew rabbi says this. He's like, could you imagine human beings? Our tendency is, now that we've experienced and executed on evil, we will probably keep tending towards evil. So imagine if Adam and Eve were still around, just how heinous. Because his thing was like, if Hitler had however many years he had, 60 years, and he was that bad, what would happen if he had 600?
Whoa.
6,000.
Oh.
Because
Oh,
we would keep decaying and decaying and decaying. Although it
Like
sure
that.
feels like we've gotten to a new rock bottom, but
yes, mercy to allow people to only live but so long.
yeah, not
So
just
I
for
asked,
them, but for those around them, right?
Hmm.
so I asked somebody today, like, reconciling. How do you reconcile God's promises with Him changing His mind?
Tell me more.
So, like, I forgot what I was reading. My brain is suddenly blank. But I was reading Samuel. It had to be something in Samuel, and um, oh, it was Samuel. So, like, in my brain, because it's different stories, but this time he was talking about Eli, and he had promised Eli that him and his sons and his whatever would be priests of whatever, right? But then the sons started cutting up, and God was like, "All right, tell Eli." That was a prophecy, Samuel's first prophecy. Tell Eli that his no, yeah, that was Samuel. Yeah, he said, "Now your sons, there's everybody connected to this whole family line. Like y'all not gonna have nothing to do with nothing." And so like it made my brain start like wondering because I think I was saying to the person, I was like, a lot of times we hold on to these different promises in the Bible, and some of these promises were never for us. Like we read them and we're like, yeah, but God wasn't talking to you. God was talking to this person. And so you're holding on to a promise that ain't got nothing to do with you. But let's say, but then there's other stories where God has changed his mind. And then the one thing the person, like, one of the things the person
Like
highlighted
what
was
story?
where he changed his mind.
Hmm. Just an example.
Like, oh my gosh.
Like Saul? Like King Saul?
Well, yeah, that's one. But I think there's conditions. So what the person was saying is, um, a lot of times there's conditions tied to the promise,
Hmm.
and so it's like
If you be
it's
willing and
right,
obedient, you'll eat
right,
the good of the land. So if you stop
right,
being willing and
right,
obedient, you ain't gonna eat the good of the
right,
land.
right, right. And so, but then I wasn't sure. I hadn't done more research because I was like, is it always a condition when he changes his mind? There are times where he's just like, I'm not doing it this way anymore. I'm gonna do it this
It's
way.
not. It's not universal one way or the other. Depends on the promise. So some promises are conditional, and some
Right.
things that he established, and it will be, and he finds a way to make it. Like for example, I was reading one this week. Here's one. Romans. Oh, I wrote down the message, but I didn't write down the text. Hold on. I'll find it again, and then write down the text so I don't forget it. Romans 11:29. My Bible says it this way: God does not take back his gifts. He does not change his mind about those he has chosen. But I want to read it in context because that verse could mean all kind of things when you lift it on its feet, right?
NIV says it like, for God's gifts and his calls are irrevocable.
Yeah, that's what
Right.
mine.
Right. So let's go back a few verses. Romans 11. Let's go. As far as the good news is concerned, verse 28. The people of Israel are enemies. This is for your good. But as far as is concerned, the people of Israel are loved. This is because God's promises to the founders. This is because of God's promises to the founders of our nation. I would assume that's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. God does not take back his gifts. He does not change his mind about those he has chosen. At one time you did not obey God, but now you have received mercy because Israel did not obey. In the same way, Israel has not been obeying God. but now they receive mercy because of God's mercy to you. God has found everyone guilty of not obeying him, so now he can have mercy on everyone. I think about his promise was to rescue the children of Israel from Egypt and take them to the promised land. Now, his promise was to the group of people, the collection of people who were in covenant with him. And he kept that promise, even though only two of the people who rescued from Egypt made it to the promised land. So the people who the promise wasn't kept to, God wasn't conditional on his promise, but they chose to no longer be a part of the people by not trusting him. So they removed themselves from the people to whom the promise was made.
Yep.
Right? Similarly, taking this text at face value 29, I think about it. Saul was never removed as king. He was king until he died. What God did by rejecting him was saying, I won't continue with you. But he never removed the calling off of him, the appointment off of him, and he stayed king the entire time. Once he died, then there was space for somebody else to become king. And I think about those kinds of things, and if Saul makes a change, I don't know that he necessarily his line changes, right? But this statement still becomes true now because he didn't take back his gift.
Right.
And he didn't change his mind about, I guess he did change his mind about what he was who he had chosen, but he didn't take back his gift.
But even in that example, Jared, which is a really good one, is it that God changed his mind, or is it that again Saul removed himself from the promise?
Correct.
Because you said that, and my mind just went like, yeah, wait a minute. And you see that again throughout history where God says, I'm gonna do this, and then people just like, there's that meme with Homer Simpson backing himself into some shrubs or bushes and disappearing.
Oh yeah.
People do that to God all the time. He says something, and they're just like, okay, this looks a little sus, and they back out of it.
Yeah. I would, what? Good point. Because David could have removed himself the same way, right?
Yeah.
But the reason he didn't remove himself was his posture. Right? His posture allowed him to persist. He had the same opportunity that Saul had in terms of removal. I would even go Jeroboam, Saul, David were all chosen and anointed the same way. God saw them and said, you come. After this election, they made choices that caused them to remove themselves. But it wasn't necessarily God changing his mind. It's now you no longer being viable because you're no longer in the same posture,
You remember when I was telling you what the guy Rabbi was explaining to me when it says in English, and God hardened Pharaoh's heart. And it's not that God did something to make Pharaoh adopt an obtuse posture, but it's Pharaoh considered himself God, king, and the owner of everything living, dead, and in between. So if you come to him and say, there's a God, so wait, I'm not the supreme God, who says let his people go. So wait, I don't own everything, living, dead, and in between, then I'm gonna crash out, right? And it's like,
and if I say yes, I have to concede that in front of all these people.
so I am allowing things that I know what your response will be. I know how you'll be triggered, and I allow the things that I know will trigger you.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm coming and getting in your head, living rent free and twisting your mind.
Correct. Because I understand your makeup.
Yeah. That's a serious thing, because if I say yes, then I'm conceding that, and I'm destroying all of the mythos around Egyptology that we become gods, and this, I'm destroying that in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen, right?
Essentially, you're saying that in some cases, well, I guess in all cases, it's us moving out of alignment with his will. So his promise is part of his will, and we just outside of that. We're like, we don't want what you got. what you want to offer.
Yes. Yeah.
Or we don't want it that way, right? Sometimes we think, yes, we want what you have to offer, but can we get it our way instead of your way?
Mm-hmm.
Can it look like this as opposed to?
I won't mind curry. Steam it, please.
Yeah, some people might be like, nah, it had to be jerk. It had to be jerk.
Yeah.
Can't be this.
And God is like, yo, your blood pressure can't take jerk, right? So
Correct.
you do a little grilled chicken with minimal salt and a little herbs.
Steamed vegetables, nothing else for you.
Its own juices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What up, Cliff?
So like the
What's
one more relationship
happening, people?
What up?
was the relationship between I was reading Daniel as well, and
Mm-hmm.
Ananias, Michelle, and Azariah, when they were like just from their arrival, like they wanted the Daniel and them to come in line with what the king has been doing, like eat his food, do what he tells you. This is how we want you to be, and they're like, no, like we're standing on what we know we're supposed to do. Like, just trust me. Let us do it how we know we're supposed to do it. Let them do y'all do what y'all do, and we'll see like what's what. And then them doing it what they know to be right. And then what's crazy is when the Bible says like, and Nebuchadnezzar thought that they were better than all the men, all the men in his whole kingdom. And you still didn't put them like top of the top, like you saw them, and you didn't put them superior to all these other Babylonians that were on a lesser level.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you have that realization and still? I don't know. I guess
Isn't it what Jared said before? Because to act on that realization, now you're conceding that whoever these guys are serving, no, granted, he ended up conceding it however many years later, but up until that point, he's like, yeah, I can't acknowledge what's behind these guys being as good as they are, because if I do, then our systems are flawed, right? And we should become subservient to whoever this new God is.
And
Well,
even go ahead.
There are a couple of dynamics there that we shouldn't ignore in processing this. One, the approach of the Babylonians, the Assyrians, and I think the Medes and Persians later on was they conquered by assimilation and pluralism, right? So they force you to learn the language and the ways to kind of push out your culture, but they also incorporate, pluralism, so all of this can exist. And so that way you can't be pure in your thing, and you become, not corrupted, but a part of us. And so that's one thing. So they're not really, which one is better than the others, which one serves me best. Your God will serve me best, I will elevate him. Otherwise, until he do something for me, I ain't really, too big on it. Okay, that's good for you, but maybe it's just, that diet worked. Maybe it don't have anything to do with God, and you just, it worked. The other thing is, I'm wondering about well, I don't remember what the other thing is. I've lost my train of thought. I was trying to get it back, but yeah, I don't remember what it was.
But even you just highlight the assimilation portion, right? One of the thoughts I had is, for one, how come a lot of times we tell the story, we use the Babylonian names that were given to them and not their original name? Like Daniel, but the rest of them are the other names. So that was one thing I stood out. But then I also thought when I was thinking about their names, because I was reading some book and they were highlighting what their names actually meant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of it point to the God that they serve. And so I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, when they were facing the furnace, they weren't standing up as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were standing up as Ananias, Mishael, and Azariah. They weren't there under the names that were given to them. They're standing under who they knew themselves to be, which is why their name was important, because it told them, like, hey, this is where you come from. This is the God that you serve. So even in changing their names and everything, like, they just never forgot. And despite being in the assimilation process, like, somehow they found a way to not forget who they were and who they served. So I thought that was pretty.
There might be a recency bias in there for them because might have been fresh in their transition. Maybe they've been there about another 30 years. They might have.
I mean, did Daniel?
Yes, he did. Because Daniel started eating meat from the king's table. He did. Later on, when Cyrus and them come, Daniel was in a whole different. Daniel was not, he was the same wisdom, but he started to assimilate into the Babylonian ways. Yes, he did. And it was, you see it so subtly in the text. Yeah.
It's like he was just worn down. Attrition, right? It's like I'll weigh you down over time.
Over certain types of things. I'm sure he had the core convictions that he didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But then you start to go, how big a deal is this? I know when I first came back to the US, I used to make fun of Dion and Kimberly because I would hear them doing the code switching. And I'm like, why y'all making those adjustments in your accent? Why y'all sounding funny like that? Until I had to go and work at Circuit City and people would say, huh?
All day. All day.
Huh? Like the pressing on one, huh? What? I had to adjust my speech.
It sounds like that rapper would always do that. Huh?
People really do that. Like they come in and say, "What? Huh?" They do, "Huh?" Especially those who come in from like in DC itself. Like they tell the people who from DC, not just the Maryland DMV area, but people who live in DC. They go, "Huh? Huh?"
Yeah, they had a one-up on you. They're like, this is what we need to do to make this thing relatable, right?
I still haven't been able to do the code switching, but I can adjust the speech so that I'm a little clearer. But I had to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
I code switch all day, but yeah.
You code switch all day?
All day.
I can't do it. I can't.
I mean, I had to adjust when I went to. I had my accent strong up until my middle school, and I was in Alabama, and everything had to change. Like,
yeah, because Alabama, come on now.
Yeah, like, yeah, everything had to change. So a lot of people are like, I don't even hear your accent. I'm like, it's there. It's there for who needs it.
If you get upset enough, the accent would come out, right?
Or that inner voice, that accent, the inner voice.
Inner voice conversations is where the accent still resides. That's like Jared, my dad, when he got really upset, he'd start talking in one or three languages, Greek, Hebrew, or German for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if he got really upset, we're like, wonder what you're saying.
Wow.
He's like, the things that shall not be named, so I'll just say it in one of these. Because what are the odds you could figure out Greek, Hebrew, or German at 10, 12 years old, right? So, okay.
Or they delineate between which one he's speaking.
Correct.
Which one is it?
it all just sounds strange, right? So yeah. But I really like that concept of how we pull ourselves out of, 'cause the same way we pulled ourselves out of the garden, right? It's not like, and that's the thing, it's not like God is punishing us. It's like this is the result of you pulling away. You know, you hear people say things like, I found God. He wasn't lost. You wandered off. Could you imagine if your phone is gonna die, or better yet, your EV, right? And it's gonna keep warning you, hey, you're passing another charging point. Do you want to stop and charge up because I'm running out of battery? You keep refusing to do it, and then run out of battery in the middle of nowhere, and you're cussing out all of the EV charging stations and cussing out your car when you're the one who decided I'll step away from it.
Yeah. That, you by the side of the road late for your meeting. Have to pay the tour to come and all the expensive equipment to get your car to where you could get it charged. All that cost you incurred is now you're doing your responsibility.
One random other question. Nah. You ready for a random question?
Sure.
So, I think it was still Samuel when the Ark of the Covenant was captured. How come those people didn't die touching the Ark? Like how there's some story where the Ark was falling.
It's Uzzah. It's Uzzah, Uzzah, Uzzah.
Yeah, the Ark was falling.
God said, don't do it. He did it, and
yeah, gone. But the Ark was able to be captured and taken to another place. I was trying to wrap my brain around, like, that doesn't. How is that even? How come y'all all didn't die? Like, how come everybody didn't get wiped out? Like,
because it was less about touching the ark and more about being faithful to God's instructions. God was trying to set the thing up as significant to his people. And so he gave them guidance on how to deal with this thing, how to regard it. Right? These other people, they found out how significant it is because it started making them sick and they started experiencing all these things in their lives.
Well,
So,
no,
and then the idols of their God fell in front of it and all sorts of stuff, right? Yeah.
No, they knew because they got worried when the ark was going into the camp. When they were warring and the Israelites said, let's bring the ark into the camp, those people were worried that they brought the ark. So they already knew the importance.
Well, let's go to that text. Where's that text? Where were you reading?
Hold on.
How much is Samuel?
Yeah, it's in Samuel. Let me see. Like, 7, 6, 7.
What's the second Samuel?
First. I think in like 4. Because Eli died. Right? Huh?
These were Philistines, right?
Yes. So I think it started from like 3, where they decided.
First Samuel,
like,
yeah, First Samuel
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Right. So yeah, these were Philistines. These weren't Israelites.
Right. That's my point. So
they didn't know. They didn't get it. They didn't get the same kind of instructions.
Yeah, but what
they knew it was important. Okay. They know it's important. They know it has some kind of significance. It had to do with the Israelites' God. I mean, that's clear, but they didn't receive. So the Israelites got the instruction, hey, this thing is important, don't touch it.
Right. Okay.
They knew that. That's,
Mm-hmm.
The Philistines understand that this thing is important, but they don't really understand the significance of it. And they don't have that instruction set. So God is the God of everybody. Just like you spoke to, sometimes you deal with some children some way and some another way. Right. They had a whole different experience with it because God is revealing himself to them too. right? That's why they
Well,
got rid of
okay.
it and sent it back. They're like,
I
this,
guess
get rid of it.
I guess in my mind, like when they said on the men of Shiloh, when they sent men to Shiloh to bring the ark.
Where are we? Where are we?
Oh, sorry. 1 Samuel 4, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got panicked. Why did the Lord? Because they got defeated, and then they decided to bring the ark, and then it said, I'm trying to go to where the Philistines started worrying. I saw the shouting. So it says the gods, of course, from their understanding, the gods have come into their camp. This is verse 6. Sorry, 7. And then it says, this is a disaster. We have never had to face anything like this before. Help, who can save us from these mighty gods of Israel? They're the same gods who destroyed the Egyptians with plague, blah, 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 blah. So I guess in my mind, it was like, okay, so you knew, obviously you didn't know from firsthand knowledge because you didn't have that like connection to God, but you knew what it was. And I guess in my mind, I'm like, how come God didn't like just shut it down? Like, don't touch it. Like, it's not something for you to be putting your hands on.
Well, let's go back, because what's happening here is the Israelites came out to fight with the ark. The Philistine killed 4,000 of them, verse 2, and the rest of the Israelite soldiers returned to camp.
Right.
They questioned about why God won't let them, the Philistines, win the battle. And then the Israelites took the thing back to Shiloh. Right? While the thing was there, the people got excited because they saw it, and the Philistines
gave them
they speculated about what they were experiencing. Right? They had partial knowledge. Right? But they thought the gods had come into the camp. They didn't even say the Yahweh came into the camp. They didn't say the ark came into the camp. They thought that this thing had to do with their gods. You know? And so that's what the significance was. And then they say, how terrible for us, who will save us from the mighty power of these gods? Like they were reacting to something they didn't fully understand.
Well, I guess they tied the ark to the gods because it says they learned that they were told that the ark had arrived and they panicked, and then like now the gods are there. So if the ark is there, the gods are there.
Right.
But
they have gods of their own in their temple, so they go in and touch it all the time. Like nothing happened to them when they touch the god. So like, and I'm sure the ark also had sticks. So I'm you don't know how they moved it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But
I was busy battling away and I was on mute, but Jared, yeah, they had these long bars at the sides of it, and men would hold it, the Levites or whoever would actually hold it. And it said that Uzzah didn't actually touch one of those, however you pronounce
he touched the ark itself.
He touched the body of the ark itself, not the carrying rods, if you want to call it that, right? But again, part of their mythology was that these things were basically like portals, channels, mediums. This physical thing was a means of representing the power of your God. So if we capture it, now we've taken your God captive, which is why I guess God had to let what happened in their temple happen, where all their gods fell around it, right, on their face, because for them, they thought, oh yeah, we take your God captive, so what now, right? But then when we come and realize, wait, now gods are like dust in front of your God. Come, take your stuff back. We don't want to mess with that.
And they were getting
I think they started getting boiled or something. Hold on, we get
tumors, I think, or something like that. If I remember
this is why they make the racks with the tumors. Verse 12 of chapter 5. Send this thing away. Verse 11.
Yep. Send
this thing away. Let it go back to this place. If you don't, it will kill us. So like they know God did it something to say, hey, this you all don't want to hold on to that, get rid of it, send it back, right? Without
No
having to
mess.
come down and send a message. This is the abstract piece of this God, right? He could have
Right.
come down and sent a message, hey, give me back my thing, please. Right? He could have said
Right.
that.
Right.
Instead,
Right.
what he do? The people start getting sick. They figure it out themselves and they take the same action.
Mm.
Yeah. Which shows that they didn't really know. They just, they come to understand it. This thing is important that we shouldn't have it. And if we keep it, we will get sick. So send it back.
Mm-mm-mm.
The reason I'm framing those statements like this is that numbers 9 and numbers 10. I was reading it and I was like, which is it? Numbers 9 goes through this, and this is when this happens when you do this whole spiritualizing thing, right? Because this is what I was guilty of, spiritualizing the thing. So numbers 9 from about 22 to 23. Now it's all before that, right? But 22 and 23 is about where the statement that captures the sentiment lives, although the sentiment is expressed before. Jerry, you spoke about it. They have this cloud by day and pillar of fire by night, right?
Mhm.
And what numbers is establishing, numbers 9 is establishing is that once the cloud move, they would pack up and move with it. And then when the cloud stop, they would stop.
They would settle.
As written, it sounds like they're moving around the desert and the cloud is telling them where to go and where to and guiding them. But if you read Numbers chapter 10, it would suggest that that's not really what the cloud is doing. It's just getting up and saying, time to go, time to stop. Because Numbers chapter 10, and you can read Jerry, verse 29 and 29 to 32. Why would Moses make this request of his brother in law if that's what was happening with the cloud?
You said Numbers 10, 29 to 32.
Correct.
Now Moses said to Hobab, son of Ruel the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, we are setting out of the place about which the Lord said, I will give it to you. Come with us and we will treat you well, for the Lord has promised good things to Israel. He answered, no, I will not go. I'm going back to my own land and my own people. But Moses said, please do not leave us. You know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you can be our eyes. If you come with us, we will share with you whatever good things the Lord gives us.
Why you need Hobab as our eyes if you have a cloud
Right.
that
Right.
directs, right?
Right.
And the
Trump,
very chapter before was when the cloud moved, they just move. When the cloud stopped, they just stop. But I almost feel like the cloud was just saying time to go. And there is this element of determination that's happening with the people more than the cloud is giving those clear directions.
I guess
Why
I
you
always
need a
thought,
that
always
could tie
thought,
into what you were saying earlier, where it's like we need this physical manifestation, something that we can see and touch and feel to give us direction rather than this.
but I guess the reason I thought the same thing you thought is like where it talked about them. God didn't take him on a certain path because he knew that if they ran into a certain group of people, that they would go back to Egypt. So I guess that's where my brain connected the guidance portion of it. Because I'm like, the only way you could prevent them from running to people is if you're actually like guiding them in a certain direction.
But my understanding is in that in that instance,
Mm-hmm.
I think God was telling Moses, and I think that's what it actually said. God told him, turn here, go there, go back this way, pick up and go. So, as opposed to just follow, they weren't just following the cloud around.
Okay, so if even that is true. Oh.
Freshman says, I think they knew. They just chose not to believe. They, like we all, wanted to do their own thing apart from what they know to be true. And then the truth made them a what left. They remember and get right. Okay.
But I was saying, even if it was God telling them go left, go right, wasn't He still doing that, or did He stop? And it was now they were just roaming.
And this was the question that this story here made me pause like, well, wait. I was just reading about how they were following this cloud, and I thought how significant it was when we move when God say move, and then when He say stop, and so He's leading us and guiding us, and we just following the thing. Man, that's so powerful. Spiritualize that. And then Moses is like, "Hey, can you stay with us so you can tell us where we should camp?" It's like God ain't telling you where to camp. Like, wait, you just tell me this cloud is not giving you camping guidance?
And maybe they just decided to stop listening, right? Who knows?
There was a chapter before.
Yeah, but it's not new behavior for them, right? They're known for
Right.
they wouldn't. I mean, it's like, how long was it after God let them through the Red Sea, and they're like, "You bring us out here to die? Let's go back to Egypt, where at least we had, never mind, we were being beaten and abused and any other number of things." But
so I guess it's like those moments where God that might have been a time period where God was quiet. They didn't know what to do with that, so they're like, so brother, we can't.
They constantly needed signs and wonders. They weren't actually growing in their relationship with Him. It's like, okay, for your next number, God, you need to do that. It's kind of like, if you keep helping people, they become entitled and they think you owe them what you're doing, as opposed to actually getting into a relationship with you. And I feel that's how they start to see God. God is just supposed to show up and fix things for us. He's a fixer.
I wonder, this thing just talks about the cloud lifting, right? It's go up and then come down, and go up and then come down. But, well, I'm now reading it like that. I used to think it was lifted and going, and then we was following it. But I just realized I'm reading that into the text, because the text don't actually say that.
Right.
We could go back and read it. So chapter 9, the section on the tent, starts at verse 15. Numbers 9:15. The holy tent was set up. It was the tent where the tablets of the covenant law were kept. On the day it was set up, the cloud covered it. From evening until morning, the cloud above the tent looked like fire. That's what continued to happen. The cloud covered the tent. At night, the cloud looked like fire. When the cloud lifted from its place above the tent, the Israelites started out. Where the cloud settled, the Israelites camped. When the Lord gave the command, the Israelites started out. And when He gave the command, they camped. As long as the cloud stayed above the holy tent, they remained in camp. Sometimes the cloud remained above the tent for a long time. Then the Israelites obeyed the Lord's order. They didn't start out. Sometimes the cloud was above the tent for only a few days. When the Lord would give the command, they would camp. And when He would give the command, they would start out. Sometimes the cloud stayed only from evening until morning. When it lifted in the morning, they started out. It didn't matter whether it was day or night. When the cloud lifted, the people started out. It didn't matter whether the cloud stayed above the tent for 2 days or a month or a year. The Israelites would remain in camp. They wouldn't start out, but when the cloud lifted, they would start out. When the Lord gave the command, they camped. When He gave the command, they started out. They obeyed the Lord's order, and they obeyed Him, just as He had commanded them through Moses.
But then
now, it was just curious to me, Moses' ask of his brother-in-law.
Yeah, that's
That was just a
Yeah.
strange act in light of this whole narrative there. And so I'm trying to figure out how the two things can be true at the same time. Or maybe Moses was just like looking for a fresh pair of eyes and trying to give the guy something to do. Maybe.
Well, okay. So if I put what you just said, cloud, which I'm trying to process the pillar, because honestly I feel like for me it may have started from the movies or the cartoons, the whatever. No, I'm serious. Like that's what you saw in the movies in the car when you were a kid. They showed you the pillar moving and the people following. At least that's what I. So I think that's where the imagery probably got stuck. But it does say pillar, so that to me paints like a tower of. But anyway. But like if the clouds lift mean it's time to go, but he's not telling you where to go, but he does tell you when to stop, and you have to figure it out in between this. And so if the brother-in-law is, they sound like they're people who know how to maneuver terrain and get through spaces and survive, and you know what I mean? So I feel like, which it's hard for me to reconcile now in my brain because I'm a person that needs clarity, and it's like I need clarity and direction. Like, so Lord, so you just out here telling people stop and go, and you just tell them where they're going. I mean, I know sometimes he does, but
Time to move.
like,
All right, we're moving.
I'm not gonna lie. I would have had a hard time.
Which might explain the going in circles, right?
Which is why they got mad, like brought us out here to die. Cause bro, we going, where we going?
Yeah, but remember, he took them in a very short period of time. He took them to the borders of where they were supposed to be going, sent spies in, and they argued with him. They came back and said, "No, we can't possess that land." He's like, "Oh, you can't."
Fair enough.
Talk
That
amongst
happens-
yourselves.
That happens after this part, though. That happens after.
Yeah,
after this part. That happens after the brother-in-law was asked to come, right?
But keep me honest here. In my mind, most of the wandering happens after.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Moses is asking the guy to stay on before that
Yeah.
Before that wandering begins.
Yeah.
Moses is asking the guy to stay on, which means that there's a measure of wandering happening.
Yeah, and
right
he's
now.
the expert on this
It
terrain.
seems so. It seems so. Yeah.
Man, geez. Oh yeah, I would have been one of them. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you brought us out here to die. You don't know where we going. We're just gonna go
I going home. I like to walk around in this desert for the water. I going home.
Forget y'all. Yeah.
I get all that honey, milk and honey land. He promised, yeah. He make a smart move because he would have been in the desert with them for 40 years, like Caleb and Joshua. Yeah, so I was wondering about that.
And completely missed that. How many times have we read this and completely missed that?
Completely missed what?
That part of the story that, this guy, I mean, you read it, but it's like you glaze over it and you didn't realize, oh, this guy was like, see you all later, man, I'm out. Wow.
Yeah, the reason this stood out to me is that I was, there was happening in the morning that, I feel like God tapped me on my shoulder and say, hey, wake up. It's time to wake up. And I'll be like, yeah, but it's 4 o'clock. I still have 2 hours.
Yeah.
And after a while, I'm like, all right, you're telling me to wake up. But what do you need me to do right now? No, get up.
Right.
And do what? Okay, so I start praying, but you're not talking back. So I talk to you, and
can we do this when I'm awake?
And what happened, I think the morning I read this was the night before PG County gave a 2-hour delay, right? Yeah, like the 2-hour delay because they would snow the day before. It was really light, but they were like abundance of caution, 2-hour delay the next day. So I'm not planning to get up at 6 o'clock. I've been planning to get up till 8 o'clock. right? Because I come, I get 2 extra hours to stay in bed.
Taking it, right?
About 10 to 5, time to wake up. I'm like, yo, we early today. What's this?
But why?
I'm like, all right, I read and I didn't read my Bible. I pray or whatever, but I did not engage my phone at all. And normally I would pick up my phone to read my Bible or whatever. Sitting in my messages at 4:58 a.m. is a message from the guy I went basketball with the children, took them to a skills class, and the guy I went with who invited me to come along. He drives bus for the county, and he was messaging me telling me there is no 2 hour delay. Had I gotten up when I got the tap and engaged the thing, I would have known. I didn't get up till 7 o'clock. When I got up to go upstairs to wake up the children, it was the time we should have been leaving the house. We ended up late that day because I didn't respond to the tap. And what I heard in that from the text was, yeah, I'm telling you to move, but when you start to engage your day, if you would engage your day the way you're supposed to, what I'm telling you to move for will become evident. And maybe there's something later in the day that you would have known. Like the other morning, you also tapped me, and I was like, dude, what's this? Why are you waking me up so early? My alarm ain't even go off yet, and I have an alarm set for 5 o'clock. Why are you doing this? I don't have nothing for me to. And I lay down trying to figure out, okay, what does I need to do this morning? What? And I couldn't come up with anything. Now, what I'm coming to learn is just get up and engage your day. It'll become obvious afterwards. Once you start engaging your day, it will be revealed. And even if it doesn't, it'll become obvious later.
Yeah.
We end up being almost not late that morning, but cutting it close. As we going out to the car, Julian says, Dad, the tire light is on. Your tire's flat. So I come out and looking at my tire flat. If I wake up earlier, go outside earlier, we catch that, I would have been able to go and deal with that, get the boys to school on time. And so he kind of sent me this message, trying to help you. You just,
Yeah.
But this verse, that whole the thing moving, but then you have this guy telling you how to navigate the thing. That disconnect came in the midst of having those experiences, and so that's why it was resonating. Is he actually moving, like waking me? He's not waking me up and say, "Hey, I'm waking you up this morning because X and Y is going to happen later in the day." He's just wake up.
It's time to get up. Right. It's time to get up. That's all you need to know.
Just get up. Get up and do what you're supposed to do when you wake up.
That's his pattern though, right? Because even when you look back at like Paul and Silas, Angel shows up in the jail at night and he's like, wake up. He doesn't come and, I am the voice of the Lord and I will do this. No, just get up.
And do what?
It will become evident. This is like go from this place to where? To a land I will show you. Man. And you got to pick up your whole family, everybody. And imagine convincing your family. Where we going? I don't know. What we going to do when we get there? I don't know.
I'm like, this sleep real good, how dark it is still.
Worse yet if it rains? Come on.
And watch me compromising and trying to negotiate in my prayers. All right, I'm gonna just lay here and pray and we'll talk. But he ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, because he's like, I want you to get up and engage. Man.
So yeah, my experience with God kind of aligned with this text, not the text of the cloud moving, but the cloud, not the text of the cloud, going and they following behind it, but the cloud moving to signal that it was time to go. But they having to figure out there's a measure of figuring out that they still have to do while this thing is signaling. So all it seems like God appears to be doing is signaling. I could use a whole Bible in the morning.
You could use her.
I hope up in the morning. I hope I have to tell you what to do at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock when he somebody to tell me this morning. Here's what the plan is.
That's what I want God to do. Like, just done with you.
Yeah, you wake me up, tell me this today we're doing this, or tomorrow we're doing that. Like you just
Yeah,
kind of guessing game thing is on.
yeah.
And here's the thing.
And that whole
I can't,
app.
that's that abstract, right?
Which is what requires faith, right? Because if it's nice and clean cut and everything, all the dots connect nicely and ones and zeros, then do we really need faith?
I mean, yes. What? Like, well, this is God's will. What I desire is for Him to just tell me what to do. Like, I may not know the end result. I may not know like what's good, what the result of it. I like just, and I guess that's the up and down cloud. Like, just get up, and go, and stop,
So
and go.
I'm kind of with Lorraine, right? I'm with Lorraine. I think I've gotten to the place a little bit of Naaman, right? Okay, I want to be healed. All right. Dip 7 times. All right. Seven. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Look,
5, 6, 7. All right, bet. Right? This is something else. This is go where?
yeah. Ooh.
You tell me 7 times. You didn't just tell me dip. I'm like, all right, do I dip to my neck? Do I dip to my head? Like if you could be a little bit more explicit, I'm gonna just trust what you say to do. But this whole figuring out what my rule is and how much and you know if to go this far or to come around this way, like just get up is like
And even the stopping, like stop to do, like we're settling. Even the brother-in-law, like he had to teach them how to survive out there. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, you just
the
like
day
up here.
of living out there, like he had to be able to do that.
Yeah.
God.
You have to figure out when he tells you stop here, whether you should go on that side or this
Yeah,
side.
right. And while we're here, what are we doing?
No, while we here, we just here until you say not to go. But sometimes the wind is blow a certain way, or the sun is coming a certain way, or when you see these kind of bushes, you have those kind of animals. Like you and telling me, all right, you just say stop here.
Yeah, even though we're in slavery,
I
we're still.
I feel like there are just times when he wants to teach us. He wants to help us become people who are completely reliant on him, and not just people who is about levels, right? You
No,
might go from not trusting him at all to trusting him a little bit to trusting him with a little more to trusting me enough to follow instructions.
This is
Now I
not
need to
trust,
be
Jerry. This is
no.
figuring
I
it.
think
So this,
no,
yeah,
but
it's
no,
not
just hear
trust.
me out because like okay, so all the time he's given again Daniel instructions,
mhm.
right? And Daniel is following, he's following, following. Now at the end of following all these instructions, you end up in the lion's den and you have no clue what's going to happen next.
Fair enough.
Hebrew boys, you follow instructions, you follow instructions, you follow instructions. Now your instructions are going to lead you to being thrown into a fiery furnace. You have
Yeah,
no
but
clue
he
of what the
told me to
outcome
go
is
I
there.
going
could
to be.
deal with that. I could deal with that. That I could deal with.
Right, and maybe that's the point. He knows what you can deal with, so now he needs to push you to stuff you can't deal with, and you just learn to be fully reliant on him.
He's trying to get us to level up there.
Yeah, because there are always going to be things that it's like
Yo, tell me
in
whether to be a doctor or a musician, right? Tell me which one to be.
and I think in fairness, and I think it's like you said, if you start, you remember what he told Moses after they praying whole night, he's like, quit praying and forward march. He's like, I will show you, even when he says your ears will hear a voice behind them saying turn to the left or turn to the right. But that happens while you're on the move. So if
Yeah,
you
but
sit
here
and
what
you're
the
waiting,
person at the table in front of me, Jerry, waiting on me to decide which classes to sign up for, right? They waiting on a response. and you ain't telling me which one to do. Now Moses had a thing, advantage. You would say, leave it, take your family, go back, rescue the people. That's our job. I know. I go, and you will figure out and teach me how to do all of that.
Right.
Moses didn't have to decide. Am I going to be a liberator or a shepherd? I wonder, boy, which one it is God calling me to, boy? Where's my purpose, boy? That is that part, Jerry. That is the part me and Lorraine pushing against. Because it have money to support that, yeah, that's fine. And then I have to make decisions. Do I stay in this job or do I pursue this new career? Do I pivot? Right? And you ain't telling me Jack. You just saying get up. What? Just get up. What?
We're looking for the and, get up, and what do they call it? That hushed silence is like really just, yeah.
It's like in pharmacy, right? Where doctors will write prescriptions. And they'll say like, take 2 as directed. What? Sir, this drug I might feel like, or as needed. Those like 2 as needed. Like, I might feel like taking 10, but that might kill me. Like, you need to be specific.
Yeah.
You need to be specific and clear on, okay, take 2 tablets every 4 to 6 hours, no more than X amount in a day. Like, that's more structured. Like, but just as neat, like, that 10 might kill me. I might think I needed 10, but the 10's gonna take me out. Like, you don't want to give me a little bit more like parameters. What to do?
Thank you, Laurie. That's a perfect illustration. I'm gonna borrow that. I'm gonna hold on to that. I don't know that that is a trust issue, Jerry. I don't know that that's trust or faith.
What do you think it is then?
So there may be that God is saying, I don't really have any preference here for you. Whatever you choose is He might be giving me autonomy and agency, right? And he might be operating on a whole different set of priorities. I don't care whether you're a doctor or a musician. Whichever one you want to do that. Just make sure you do it to the best of your ability, wherever it is you're doing, right? Like he might be on that kind of timing. But it's those kinds of decisions. Maybe I'm trying to not make the decision and have the decision made for me. maybe deep down inside, maybe deep down inside, I don't want the risk and the accountability of, I decided to be a doctor and I spent all this money when I could have just been a musician, like.
My dad would tell me that he thought lots of the times that's why I would vacillate between 2 things, because I didn't want the accountability. But it could be, like you said, multiple things, and it depends on the context too, right? Sometimes we're asking God for answer because we're already down a path we shouldn't be down. So he tells you turn left and you're doing your own thing, and then when you get down here, you're like, okay, well, what now? And he's like, you have your own GPS, don't look at me.
Maybe I'm sure
I think it could be multiple things it could be different things at different times. Because I know there are times in life where God was like, so you're gonna go left, right? I'm like, no, I'll go right. And he's like, really? Okay. And then when you wander down far enough and you get lost, you're like, so what now? And he's like, and I feel, again, I can only speak for myself. I feel like there are times I've wandered away from him and I literally had to wander back. He wasn't telling me how to find my way back. He's just like,
Marco.
And you trip and fall and stumble and you roll down again, and then Marco. You end up right back. Yeah.
Polo, Marco.
I think if I look at me, I think it's like, I think abstract and unknown, like as far as my personality is concerned, make me uncomfortable. So like I get more anxiety from just to go with it. Like, what? No, we're not going with it. Like, we, can we have? And I feel like it's tied. I can see like what a like experience wise in my life, like probably why I'm like that. And so unless that's like his way of like we talked about like we expect God to do things in a certain way, and he's like, don't put me in a box, like be comfortable whichever way I decide to do this thing. And I'm like, but can you do it all the other ways except for this one?
Please and thank you. Yeah.
Because like I remember having a devotion and I thought it was so interesting. It was a guy, the person who wrote the devotion for that day was talking about like a father-daughter activity that he had to do, and it was like a relationship building experience. And in it, the daughters had to be blindfolded, and they were in the woods, like out in the woods or whatever, and they were given some instructions, like I can't remember it verbatim, but one of the instructions was, I'm always here. Just call me if you need me. And there was a third one. And so daughters were blindfolded. At first, the dads were instructed to put their hands on their shoulder. And so they would just follow the guide of taking them. And then they were signaled, because they wasn't said out loud, they were signaled to remove their hands from the daughters. And so, some of them obviously you're like, hold up. And then, but some still kept walking. And then I think he said like some of the facilitators then started directing the girls into like tricky situations, like in the woods, like, and he said for him looking at it, like he got emotional because he was like, I told you I'm here, and I told you could call on me, and you're struggling. I'm waiting on you to call on me, to tap me in, like tap me in. And then eventually, like the daughter, like said, "Dad," and then he said yes. I mean, but like it made me like dang, like Lorraine. It's like, we like when his hands are on our shoulder, but sometimes like the hand is off, but it doesn't mean he's not there. Even in those moments where it seems very like abstract and very ambiguous, and anxieties are rising and blood pressure rising and cortisol levels are spiking. But he's like, just call me, and all you need to know is that I'm here. So if I'm here, wherever you're at, whatever situation you're in, like you're good. I just haven't settled in that. I'm not settled.
So let's go with this. Is God calling me to be a vegetarian, a vegan, or pescatarian? Like which one? Which one you want me to be, Lord? Nothing. Eat healthy.
I'm here.
I do feel though like there are times I've asked him questions like that, and even if he didn't say something, eventually it became clear what was necessary. The challenge is dealing with that space between when you ask the question and you get some sort of confirmation. That is where it gets a little tenuous, because you're living in tension, right? You're kind of like, and then if you're anything like me, maybe you're a lot further along in your sanctification journey than I am. I like to throw those things in his face. I'll be like, well, I was asking you for guidance, and
No, I ain't do that. I just like.
No, I get facetious sometimes, right? And then he has to be like, come on, guy. But
the red one or the green one? Like, help me. The red one or the green one? Which one do I choose? Tell me. And he's like
I said, I feel like it always becomes clear sooner rather than later. He finds
I come to find that he don't really care about certain things. You need a pair of shoes, get a pair of shoes that fit and that meet your budget. I don't care whether it's red or blue or green. Like,
That's what you and you. How do you put it? Your autonomy and agency. And here's the thing: regardless of which one you go for, the red or the blue, he'd be like, "I'll show you how you can get a little coupon or a little code off Amazon to get a discount on it, regardless of which one you choose."
when I go in CVS and I stand up close up, Crest, Aquafresh, oh, Sensodyne. Lord, which one I should choose? Toothpaste.
Yeah.
How much money you have? That one.
Oh,
Like,
Right.
oh, man.
like he working on a whole different set of criteria for decision making,
Mhm.
right? And sometimes I feel like I'm looking for direction in these, narrow things, and he's like, yeah, that's not the kind of direction I'm here to provide. You know?
Or not at that moment. He might at times, but then at some other
Maybe,
times, it's
maybe,
like,
maybe.
you don't need that right now.
And I think for me too, like I don't want to make mistakes. Like I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste time. Like, and I know like, you're supposed to learn from the experience. I know what I'm supposed to do. It's not work. It's not
So yeah, just tell me which one, so I'll be good. Because this is the one you told me. Right? This is the one you said.
Mhm.
like this ambiguity is uncomfortable. I don't know what to do with this. Like, just tell me what to do. Somewhere to go, what to say. Just. And if it and if I'm being really real, I just want you to do something. If I put it 100, like sometimes it's like just you say
Yeah.
you dwell in me, right? Can't you just get this?
I like that. Just get this moving. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I just don't want to waste time. I don't want to make mistakes, and I know it's all part of life, but I just don't want to. I don't want to. I know it's important lessons we have to learn and character building that has to happen.
I think
But
it's it's all about becoming who he made you to be, and sometimes the path for path of becoming, jeez, isn't about. It requires more than an instruction, and you following through on an instruction.
Mhm.
Sometimes it actually requires. It's kind of like you can you can spend an awful lot of time telling your kids what to do. Sometimes what's required is,
You gotta do it. You gotta try it. You gotta
yeah.
walk through it. You gotta figure it out.
But
Because if
he's
I tell
there.
you what to
You
do it,
can call on him because he didn't even want you to walk off a cliff, right?
right.
But
right.
Jerry, I like that. Like I think about sometimes with Julian, if I tell him do this, pack this, bring that, right? Yes, he will have it for this instance, and he would have done it, but he doesn't have the experience of practice, and he doesn't develop the skill of thinking this through on his own. And if I'm not there, he can't think it through. And so sometimes you just have to say, you show him and then you say, figure it out, solve your problem, because you
and
want to strengthen that problem solving skills is the priority here, not resolving
Mhm.
this issue.
yeah, yeah, because then that allows him to deal with silence, right? Because he knows, hey, I could figure this out. So even if he's not hearing something, he knows I can keep doing this until I hear something, as opposed to panicking and crashing out, right?
And then as he started figuring it out and I'm watching him, I could see, okay, I need to jump in and tell it, no, not this side, the other side. And that's all. Not this side, the other side.
Yeah.
Or even
Mm.
like the panicking and crashing out, like you might just panic. Comes back at you, and he's like, "Hey, like I'm still here. Like I didn't leave you. I'm just giving you room to do." When they talk about like the when they were teaching us about like cry it out babies and stuff. It's like babies don't have the perception of like coming back when they're so young. when they see you gone, they think gone forever, not a momentary gone. And so you eventually teach them that, hey, being not visually present doesn't mean I'm gone. I'm still here. And so it's like, so you may crash out, but I'm still here.
That's like with puppies too, right? If a puppy, especially their eyes haven't opened yet, if they can't feel you, they will just squeal and make noise because it's like world is ending. I need to know you're right.
That problem solving skill illustration is that's going to be my takeaway. I think about sometimes I'm with Julian and he just wants to get it done, and I'm like, no, I need you to learn how to do this. That's what I need, because I could see down the road, if you don't learn how to do this and you wait on me every time when I'm not here, what are you gonna do? I need you to figure this out. So go ahead, solve your problem.
Part of growing up and maturing is that you can figure this out, right? It's like if you always tie your kids' shoelaces, how do they learn to?
Correct. And if you send them by the cousins to spend the night, who tying the shoelace for them?
Facts.
Who gonna do it? So they need to know how to do it, and so they have to sit and struggle with it. You know.
And then also he puts you in connection with people that even when he's silent, he sent help. You just had to notice the forces that are around you, because they're not meant to do it solo. Like,
he sent Ruel and Hobab. Hobab and Ruel will teach you how to do it, and then they'll leave, and then you'll be able to do it. They'll give you some direction.
There was something we were talking about at night with learned helplessness. And it's because you get so dependent on Ruel and Hobab. It's like, no, y'all need to keep doing this for us. We don't want to.
Don't want to take it on.
Suppose we messed it up. And all of those supposes are really your way of putting pressure on the person to stick around to do it, right?
That's what Moses did, right?
And after pressure, he tried to basically bribe them, right? Hey, whatever good stuff we get out of this,
you gain some too.
This benefits the both of us.
Just don't go, please.
If I'm getting cake, you'll get me cake. It's Sue cake. Oh my goodness.
I think we are at the point of takeaways. So we'll go around. Please. We talked about a lot of things today, and so I want to, have us hone in on what we're going home with, what we're gonna keep from this post today. I'm gonna go first. My takeaway is that idea that he's working from a different set of requirements and priorities, and so sometimes I need to, I guess that's where the trust is. Trust whatever angle he's working or developing is for my good, and engage with that in mind. Even though it may seem counterproductive to me, because it is counterproductive. Well, it seems counterproductive. So yeah, I guess that's where the trust issue is. So I will trust better going forward. Well, I'll try. I'll try. How about you, Lorraine?
I'm leaving this more mentally stressed. So, similar to what you just said, like his silence is not necessarily like a consequence or his absence. I think that's where my like fear or anxiety or stuff is tied to. um, it's like I think you used it back where you were talking about like the proctor of a test, if I remember
Mm.
correctly. Where you're like, there's a test happening, and um, doesn't mean like you're left alone, like they're there. But if you got to take the test, Proctor can't take the test for you. You got to take the test.
Or help you during the test.
Mhm. Yeah. So I don't know. That made me very uncomfortable. But just being, just speaking facts, making me uncomfortable. But I mean, the only thing that settles me is that, but he's still there.
Mm.
Like he's not gone.
I receive it.
Yeah.
Jerry?
Ooh. One thing just hit me as we were talking. How does that old gospel song go? Um, you may not come when you call him, but he's always on time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's an on time God. Yes, he is.
He's an on time God. So he won't necessarily show up when you think, let alone how you think, but on time God.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then it's not
All
even so
right.
much as showing up. Like he was always there. He just made himself known to you that he's there.
Facts. Yeah. Yeah.
I receive it. Let's go. Mezzo had
Woo.
take
Nice.
3 takeaways in the chat. She says, it isn't that God changes his mind. We move away from his will for us. Oh, all right. She was taking notes.
Yeah.
At times, we think a promise in the word is for us when God wasn't talking to us. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. He wasn't talking to me at all. I want to pause there. This is one of the reasons I love that book. I need to get you guys copies of it. Um, How to read the word for with all your might or for all its worth or something.
Yeah, you had talked to us about that book. Yeah.
Mhm. One of the things that it argues is that God's word to them is God's word to us. But you have to understand what his word was to them to then apply it to us. Because it's not really to you, it's to them,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
right? And so you can't just extract the promise, you know,
And be like,
without understanding what was being said and then understand, okay, if that is true for
what's the
how
principle?
he is, because that's what it is. He's the main center of the character of the Bible. The Bible is his interaction with people over time. And so we get to learn how he is so that we could then interact with him. So when he makes this promise to them in this context, what does that mean? Then we could extrapolate for us. And I think we skip over that because we don't appreciate what Mezzo is saying here in number 2. And that became evident to me in reading that book. So I just wanted to point that out. Lastly, she says, our choice is paramount. Thank you for this. This was profound, Mezzo. Appreciate it. All right. I think that's all we have here for today. Small group.
So yeah.
All right. Normally in these kind of sessions, I would lean into the pastor's child to pray. But because I ain't see Lorraine in a while, I want to lean into her. But because she had all the text today, I feel like we should ask Jerry to pray. So,
Thanks for all of that, right?
so let me
Uh,
flip a coin, heads or tails.
Oh gosh.
this is Jared. This is one of those situations. Does Lauren pray? Does Jerome pray? Which one? And then silence, right? God is like, don't really matter. Right? You pick. Yeah.
I'm gonna say, which one I feel like we have the desire to represent. and talk to God on our behalf tonight.
Lauren, you up to it? Oh no. Oh nah.
I would prefer not to, but I will. Okay.
All right.
All right. Lord, thank you for allowing us to come together and to learn more about you and to have revelations about ourselves as well, Lord. I thank you for your grace. I thank you for your mercy. I thank you for your patience with us, Lord, because boy, do you have to have a lot of that. Pray that you will continue to walk with us, and I pray that we will be willing participants in the journey, that we will walk together and we will experience the promises that you have for us, Lord. I pray that we will continue to be obedient and to continue to be curious and to gain greater and greater understanding of you and what you want for us in our day to day. In Jesus' name I do pray. Thank you for your love. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. We should be back on to our regular schedule, which means the 20th of March we should be back, and then March does not have a fifth Friday, so we're back on every other Friday, at least until the next month that has a fifth Friday. So continue to read with us, and keep Kenrick and Jewel in your prayers.
Sure.
Hopefully I get to see you on Sunday. Yeah. All right, guys. Until the next time, drink up. We out. Bye.